Hello, welcome to my latest video. I'm going to whisper a bit because my wife's gone to bed. It's silly o'clock at night. So I'll just start with the horizon as usual. I've got a nice burnt umber underpainting which helps the tones. It's a really pleasing effect. Might put a bit of threat in the scale there, a bit of anger. Got a bit of a hill on the horizon already, but that's academic because it'll very soon be sky. So just add a bit of titanium white. The size of the canvas is, I think now, roughly 20 by 16 inches. My one viewer will probably notice that I've got a long sleeved fleece on at the moment with purple fleece, which I've sacrificed for the purpose of painting. So I normally just work in a t-shirt that's absolutely covered in paint. It gets quite cold in my studio this time of year, so I have to dress up a little bit. It's one of my wife's fleeces, so I'll probably get a lot of paint on it. There we go. Nice sky already. It's quite a good effect. So I was just moving a packet of Cadbury Crunchy Rocks out of my way, so I didn't rustle them. I ended up rustling them, so I do apologise. Horrible noise. Not a bad start. Yeah, happy whatever day it is. I lose bloody track. It's depression and anxiety for you. What day is it? Thursday stroke Friday, 'cause it's about midnight. 29th of October. Hope you're all keeping well and safe and busy. It'll be soon Halloween and all that nonsense, and bonfire night. Yeah, I love. I haven't been to a bonfire night in a long time. You know, proper fireworks display, because I've got dogs and it doesn't really work if you've got dogs. Bit of yellow on that on the distance there. It's looking reasonably Peak Districty, even at the early stages. Going back to the Peak District in November. I can't wait. I miss my family. I miss the Peak District, and there's a lot of friends I miss as well. I'm going to another favourite place of mine, hopefully tomorrow. That's West Kirby, just on the Wirral Peninsula, just over the River Mersey from Liverpool. So I'm looking forward to that. I love West Kirby. A lot of childhood memories in West Kirby. I used to go there a lot. It's where my grandparents lived, in West Kirby. they had a wonderful house. I don't know if you know West Kirby well, but you go through West Kirby towards Hoylake, and on the left there's these massive houses, huge buildings, and they had a large 3-bedroomed apartment on the top floor of one of these houses. The house they lived in was called Clavis, a wonderful name. And it's still there now, and often whenever we go past, we go to Hoylake, I have a quick glance at Clavis, and it's exactly the same as I remember it. And that house, and the apartment my grandparents had, it had a huge window. To me it was huge because I was only little. That overlooked the Dee estuary and the golf course and the sea, and you have to bear with me. I keep pausing to think because my anxiety. Overlooking Wales and Hilbre Island and all that sort of thing. And it was an astonishing view. But it was at night. It always came to life, that view. Because, as it started to get twilight, you saw the odd light turn on over in Wales. And as night fell, the whole place lit up. The whole of Wales would be, the whole of North Wales along the coast would be lit up, and there'd be the odd light on Hilbre Island, it'll be on the odd solitary light. And even the sea, it was just a mass of flashing lights because of the buoys. And, even when we were little, we realised that each of the buoys had their own different signature, their own different flicker. Some would blink in threes and then pause for 10 seconds, then start blinking again. We used to count them. And that was, early to mid-80s, perhaps all through the 80s, long before the vast wind farm on Constable Bank was built. So what it must be like now, it must be astonishing view with the wind farms and things as well. And we used to see some incredible stuff out of the window. There was one occasion we saw a Concorde flying over from that window. And we used to spend Christmases there, and me and my younger brother, when we were little, we could swear we saw Santa Claus every Christmas Eve. And there was one occasion I remember well, there was a Land Rover going across the sand because the tide was out going over to Hilbre Island. And now obviously I know it was probably the warden or something like that going over. But my mum and dad piped up saying, "Oh look, it's Father Christmas going over in his Land Rover." And we believed it. We thought it was Father Christmas dropping presents off. And it was one of the best Christmases ever. Every Christmas when we were growing up was wonderful. We were very lucky, very fortunate. And I jumped out of bed on Christmas morning, and there was a mountain bike. Not a mountain bike, what am I on about now? Come on, John. A BMX, a Rally Burner BMX, blue and yellow. And it was my first proper bike, and I loved it. I adored that bike. Yeah, never forget. Rally burner. I used stabilisers to begin with. My dad used to teach me. We used to use it all the time. And yeah, got rid of the stabilisers. It was fantastic. So proud of my bike. I just sorting the camera out because I tend to knock into the tripod with my elbow when I'm painting. I get a bit overexcited with my brush strokes when I'm listening to music. Yeah, I did love that bike. I've still got the photograph of me on that bike in front of Clavis on the drive, grinning like a Cheshire cat. And whenever I pass Clavis, I look at the drive and imagine me on my bike with the stabilisers and things. Yeah, it was a lovely Christmas that. Yeah, that big window, my grandma used to clean it religiously. It was spotless before we arrived. But it didn't take long for it to be plastered in fingerprints and everything else for me and my brother. And I remember one time we had these, don't know if they do them now, but these little sticky rubber octopus that I had an octopus, my brother had a spider or some other worm, and you chuck it at the top of the window and it walks its way down because of the physics of the weight of the thing and the stickiness. Walks its way down the window. My grandma was twitching away, thinking, oh God, it's my poor window. I spent hours cleaning, we're mucking it up. Yeah, it was a fantastic house. And if I had the money, I'd buy it. I'd buy the place now and live there. I'd love to. I'd give anything to live in that house. Yeah, speaking of bikes, I had that big Raleigh Burnie for years, and my next bike, I mean, in our village, we all had, all the kids. It were like the Goonies, we all had, the odd chopper bike and BMXs and mountain bikes. Everybody did, apart from me. I went to a car boot sale and my dad got me a blue Peugeot road racing bike, which was a bloody fabulous bike. It was fast as you like. I used to be able to outrun anybody on a bike because I was the only kid around with a racing bike. Complete with the like ram's horn, bloody handlebars and thin tyres and things. It's an incredible bike. I used to nail it about the place really fast. Yeah, no one could outrun me on my bike. And then I think it was early 90s they bought out rally activators. And if you remember them, it's when they first invented suspension. But it was just on the front wishbone, They didn't have them on the back. And I had this rally activator, which I again adored. I loved having a bike when I was growing up. And I'd had it a while, kept it clean and stuff like that. And there was some belting hills around the village where we used to live in the Peak District that you could go down. on your bike, and my brother was behind me on his bike, and we crested the top of this hill, and we were just about to nail it down, and I set off going as fast as anything down this hill, stood up, pedaling crazily, went faster and faster. And I looked behind to see where my brother was, and then looked forward, and there was a car right in front of me. And I hit this car like a ton of bricks. Well, luckily it was parked. It was a parked car. Thank God it wasn't driving. And I cleared the car. I went straight over it. My brother said it was like a stuntman on a film. I went straight over and then hit the tarmac and slid. So you imagine the cuts and grazes and bruises and stuff. And that was the first time I ever wore a helmet on my head. So I was very, very lucky. I'm a great advocate of wearing helmets on bikes. Yeah, so when you see families riding out, yeah, you get the kids with helmets on, but the parents haven't. I think it sets a good example if the parents have helmets on their head. And yeah, I think I was bungled into a car and taken to the cottage hospital, which we tended to do when I was growing up, because we were miles away from any hospital, and it was quicker than getting an ambulance. You just go to a cottage hospital with your injuries. And it was the day before we were due to go on holiday to Northumberland or Yorkshire or somewhere like that. But we still went on holiday. I weren't going to miss it. Oh, I was in pain. And on my hand I've still got a couple of scars, about 3 or 4 scars where I slid along the tarmac. So yeah, helmets, vitally important. Yeah, so anyway, we have a painting. It's taken, 18 minutes? Not quite finished yet, a few bits and pieces to go on. Yeah, we always went on sponsored bike rides because we didn't live far away from the High Peak Trail that runs from Buxton in Derbyshire over to Ashbourne, about a 20-mile distance. And we used to ride, from Parsley Hay Visitor Centre, the cycle hire place, ride to Ashbourne and then back again. Hell of a trek, really. There wasn't a year went by when, a lot of kids did it, from the local primary school and all the families and things from the village. It was a big community thing. There wasn't a year that went by when one of the kids came off the bike and they'd be screaming. Because if you come off on High Peak Trail on a disused railway line, because there's a lot of gravel and grit and stuff, oh, by God, it hurts. I think that came off more than one occasion. Because all us kids tended to burn ahead of the pack of parents, Particularly me on my Peugeot Racer. I used to be well ahead of everybody. Once, speaking of High Peak Trail, we were fundraising for Nowzad, which is it's been in the news the past month or so. It was set up by Penn Farthing, who rescued dogs from Afghanistan. And we did some fundraising for Nowzad back in 2014, I think. And we thought, we'll walk the whole length of the High Peak Trail, from where it starts, just outside Buxton, at King Sterndale, I think. Oh God, what's it called? Anyway, not far from outside Buxton, we walked the bugger, went all the way to Ashbourne and back again. And I was dead fit by then, I was in mountain rescue, and I thought, yeah, it'd be doddle. It's just a walk, and it's flat and everything else. But my God, it was an absolute bloody killer. It really was, because walking on disused railway line, it is horrendous, because it's a hard surface. It's not like walking on, moorland and woodland and things. This is hard going. It's absolutely solid. So there's one particular stretch of this bloody trail that was particularly hard, because you can actually see where you're going, and you can see a good couple of miles in the distance, and it's a great big curve where the railway used to run, and you can see the far end of it, and you've got to walk that distance, and you can see it, and it was horrid. It really was. That stretch was vile, and it was bad enough doing it once, and then getting to Ashbourne and then having to do it all over again. It was ridiculous. It's not so bad, something like that, you're on an endurance walk. It's not bad if you can't see where you go. If you've got trees around you, you can't see. But, if you can see the distance you've got to walk, it's hideous. Mentally challenging. And we were going a cracking pace. Me and my wife were giving it some. We were very fit. But it got more and more painful, and we hadn't even reached halfway. Halfway point being at what is it? Tissington, something like that. And then on to Ashbourne, yeah, something like that. Anyway, on the Tissington Trail, and we reached the halfway point at Ashbourne, and my parents were there in the support vehicle in inverted commas. It was their car with water and stuff like that. And me, I can't speak for my wife, but I nearly packed in and got in the car and sod this. But I didn't. And going there, doing one way was fine, but having to do it all over again, because you're looking at the views you've already bloody seen. It was just horrible. It was horrid. The first stretch to Ashbourne, me and my wife were chatting, and it was high morale and everything, but all the way back we didn't say a word to each other, because we were absolutely chin strapped. Nearly collapsed when we were finished, because it really does hammer your knees and your feet. Yeah, it was bad, not to be repeated. Yeah, it's coming on nicely, this. Not bad at all. Looking quite Peak Districty. It's quite a nice perspective on it. There's the illusion of a few distant hills and things. couple of splodges of paint on the back of my hand. Yeah, nearly December, that's when I'll be oil painting, because my family is shelling out on some nice oil paints for me. Can't bloody wait. See if I can do a reasonable painting on acrylics. Can't wait to be able to see what I can do with oil paint. As oil paint is slightly less forgiving than acrylics. Acrylics dry in about 20 minutes, but oil paint you can come back to it the next day and still work on it and push the paint around and manipulate it to the way you want. With acrylics you can't. Any decision making during acrylics, you have to make the decision quick because of the drying time. Well, when I oil paint, there's no reason why I can't use the same style I'm doing now, but it'll be more tonalist, I think, when I'm oil painting, because I can really work with the tones. I can move paint around, I can remove some of the paint as well to vary the tones. So really excited about it, I can't stop thinking about it. You know, painting every single day, and I've really started to come on. You know, if you look at my work from 16 months ago, it was hideous. Then painting every single day, you soon find your flow and your style. You get that, those instinctive feelings when you know you're onto a good thing. You start creating something interesting. You learn to relax. And I've found that listening to music helps. I like sitting down when I paint, it's just personal preference. People stand up. I do stand up sometimes, but the majority of the time I'm sat down. It helps me relax. Yeah, that sky's not bad. Might have mentioned in another video, but that painting on the left hand side, if you follow the horizon on this canvas, and you see on the left hand side as you look at it, a blue painting that I did, just like a minimalist hill with a Jon Kidd sky, all in blue. And that's an oil painting, and I hated it. I thought it was horrible. So I basically got rid of it in my studio, and it was buried and everything else like that. And it's dried, you know, over 6 months or a year or whatever. And found it the other day. I was having a clear out, and found it, and the colours are so rich and vivid. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I love it now. I've fallen in love with it. So yeah, can't wait to get back to oils. Doesn't mean to say I'll stop acrylics altogether. You know, I might carry on acrylics as well, because you can paint oil paint on top of acrylics, but not the other way around. You can't do an oil painting and then acrylic on top, because you know, acrylics don't have the binding quality that oil paint has, and it'll flake off. But oil paint, it sticks to acrylic quite easily. So it's just a world of endless possibilities that I've got at my disposal. Yeah, I'll be doing the same as I'm doing now, you know, only using about 4 colours. That's all I'll need. Yeah, thankfully I'm not working on my birthday. I think I'll be painting. I know for certain I'll be painting. It might be one of those rare occasions that I even treat myself to a pint. Said I don't drink really. It's very rare nowadays. Because drinking, you know, it's depressant. It makes me very miserable. So I've got to be very happy to be able to have a drink. So if I'm very happy, I can afford to be a little bit miserable without hitting rock bottom. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Just a few last details in these clouds. Excuse me, I'll have a slurp of my Coke. Yeah, how long? I think my channel's been going on about 6 weeks, and I've only got like 23 or 24 subscribers, who I'm very grateful to. I really am. Makes all the difference. Makes it all worthwhile. So I'm hardly Joe Rogan. Not a YouTube star by any means. Long way off that. But yeah, I'm just being patient. Takes time. It's not about likes and subscribes and things, although it does make a huge difference. It does mean a lot. So thank you so much for all of your likes and your comments and your views and stuff. As well as YouTube, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WordPress and jonkid.co.uk. Yeah, quite pleased with this. This will do me nicely. It's quite ominous, quite atmospheric and dark, this one. It'll do me. Little accidental violet has gone in the sky. I'm using some violet on the foreground and didn't clean my brush. It's gone in the sky, but that kind of helps. That doesn't matter. Yeah, very nearly there. I'm getting that feeling that it's just about done. I'm not going to overdo it. Excuse me, another slurp of Coke. Thirsty. Yeah, I've been good and not had one of my Cadbury Crunchy rocks, because I love crunchy. You don't want to listen to me crunching away on them. Yeah, I'm going to save them for after. I was thinking the other day, I often think, what if, heaven forbid, I'll find some wood to, well mind you I'm holding wood, I'll just touch wood, but if I went blind, what would I do? Would I carry on painting? And I was thinking, why not try painting blindfolded? And I thought I can scarcely paint with all my faculties, you know, being able to see. So blindfolded would be quite interesting. Probably be quite horrible results as well. Because, you know, thinking about Francisco Goya, who went blind in his later years, and Matisse actually carried on creating work even though he lost his sight. And he used to make collages, you know, cubist style collages, cubism out of paper and glue. Even though he was blind, he used to create work. So it might be interesting one day just to blindfold myself and see what disaster I can come up with. Might come up with something magical, but it might be a disaster. But we shall see. Just have to pluck up the courage and go for it. Yeah, it's not bad, that sky. Yeah, a few finishing touches. Excuse me while I yawn. It's early hours of the morning. Almost there. Canvas is behaving itself quite nicely. Hasn't fallen off the easel. Oh, I just banged into my camera again with my shoulder. That's the trouble. A small studio, I tend to bang into things. Just a few little highlights going on. Quite subtle. Yeah, I think that looks just about dandy. Just sort of a bit of a road out. Yeah, let's jazz that up a bit. So thank you so much for watching. I think the job is a good one. And I keep seeing things. I think I've finished and then I see something. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.